What's going on, guys? Welcome to our podcast, Walking Manifestator. I am your host, Alexa Peña, and in this podcast, I am on one mission and one mission only, and that is going to help you awaken your truest and highest self. Embrace and embody your true power and help you elevate to a completely new consciousness. A transformational journey with the Walking Manifestator you are born to be. Manifestation isn't just about wishing, and it's not just about discipline alone. What actually creates lasting transformation that you're going to see in your life is when you have devotion. Devotion to your purpose, devotion to your growth, devotion to your highest calling. And today I want to show you how devotion actually feels very different from pressure, and how it's one of the shifts that can finally help you manifest what you've been praying for, but not just praying for it to come into your life, actually learning how to hold it. In today's conversation, I am going to focus on three things. The first one is the mindset shift that actually turns discipline into devotion. Two is how your why is actually what's going to help you rewire your entire nervous system to be able to receive more effortlessly. And lastly, why embodiment matters more than manifesting, and how the law of vibration actually decides what we keep and what we receive. So with that, let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is going beyond just motivation and discipline. This is the thing that a lot of us, and I myself included here, I used to believe that I needed to have pure discipline in order for me to get to the next level. I used to believe that in order for me to really make things happen, I needed to be lethal. And I've talked about this before. It got to the point where I wasn't taking any time for myself. I wasn't taking any time to think of anything other than going to the gym, going to work, doing the things that I needed to do for my boys. And it landed me on my bed. It was one of the most frustrating moments because I felt like I had so much to do, but yet my body was really telling me otherwise, right? I couldn't get up. My back was hurting. I remember there was a moment where I legit had to crawl to the bathroom because I had nobody to help me. My grandparents, as you guys know, I take care of them, but they were downstairs. They could not come upstairs. So I was literally there fending for myself. And this is really where I understood that I needed to also take time to protect my self-care. And this is where I really started understanding that it's not just about being disciplined, right? A lot of, especially people that are in the industry of helping you become a better version of yourself, they talk a lot about being disciplined, right? When motivation goes out the door, fuck your mood, be disciplined, show up, show up. And yeah, I agree. You have to be disciplined, right? You need to have things that are going to help you get to the goal that you want. Maybe you're in a place in your life where you're like, Alexa, I just want to make more money and I have no time to take care of myself. Well, here's the thing. When you don't make the time to take care of yourself and you're not really putting any gas into the engine, so to speak, what's going to happen is that eventually you're going to blow out your engine. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I watch a lot of kid movies because obviously I have two boys, and it kind of gives me the visual of when McQueen doesn't want to pull over to the pit stop, right? To put more air in his tire. And the pit crew is like, hey, you need to stop. And he's like, no, I got it. Well, this mofo basically blows out his tire and now he's not able to do the thing that he was originally going to do. And it takes him on this whole life journey, right? Where now he's going to go and compete again to prove what his worth actually is. And I want you to really see how that plays out in your life. Because a lot of the times we're not taking the time to really understand that we need to fuel up. This is really where motivation, right, is emotion-based. It really comes and it goes. Discipline is all geared around push energy, right? I need to push, I need to go. But devotion, this is where it's different. It is heart-based commitment. And this is where you have this energy that is pulling you toward what you're looking to manifest. And I want to share something because I think that we all learn from stories. It's not just about telling you a bunch of tactics. Yeah, those are all great, but I think that nowadays we live in a society where you can go and ask ChatGPT to give you a summary, and it will give you a summary of the things that you should be doing. But we really don't learn that way. We learn, if you've noticed by now, by listening to people tell us their story, by listening to people tell us their perspective, by listening and seeing tangible results in other people's life that we now make an identification with, and we say, you know what, I could actually do that too. So think about it from the perspective of if you're always just going, right? And in this example, let's say me. I talk a lot about the things that I want to do. I'm very open about it. And the reason I do that is for accountability. Because a lot of people, especially in my family and my culture, I grew up listening to people that would say, don't tell people your dreams, because the moment that you tell them your dreams, they're going to come like, hungry hogs, and they're going to shred to pieces your dream. And I believe that for a very long time. I wouldn't tell people what I was working on, and I'm still very selective of some of the things that I share. But for the most part, like the big picture stuff, like my actual goals and aspirations, I'm very open about it. I'm very open about the fact that I want to contribute more to society. I'm very open about the fact that I want to be a trillionaire. And I know that that's something that some people have rolled their eyes at. They're like, that's not even impossible. Well, it is for me, Betty. And even if I get to the billion, and even if I get to the $1 million months, that is going to be a lot better than where some people undercut themselves because they don't want to dream big enough. So there was a moment where it was all about money for me. It was all about money because I didn't have any, right? So I wanted to just focus on how can I take more? How can I make more? How can I just overall hold more? And then a very interesting thing happened. And as I started really working with spirituality, like what spirituality means to me, what I believe to be God, what I identify as this creation that is everywhere, this energy that is everywhere, that is constantly pulling us towards something that sometimes we ignore. I don't know if you've ever had those moments where you just feel like there's something more in you. And I've mentioned this before, like I don't wake up thinking I want to be the world's best chef. I don't. That's not something I think about. However, I know there's a lot of you and a lot of people out there that might think about that. Maybe you don't wake up thinking you want to be the world's greatest communicator because you want to inspire more people and you want to help more people and you want to establish a legacy. But that's something I genuinely always am talking about, doing things that are helping me get toward that goal. And when I'm not working toward that, I genuinely feel so useless. I feel like I'm not working toward that goal. And one of the things that I realized when I was going through this journey is that I needed to find a bigger why than just making more money. And then I started really recognizing that the reason why God allowed me to go through the things that I have, which was not being in a situation where I knew where I was going to sleep. Sometimes I went through some moments where I didn't know where we were going to be sleeping. I didn't know where our next meal was going to come from. There's a lot of things that happened, right? And that trauma that I went through actually was the biggest blessing because I recognized that I wanted to help more people that, like me, felt like they didn't have anything at one point, that felt lost, that felt clueless, that felt like they had to find their worth in people that didn't really love them, find their worth in drugs, find their worth in things that were not really in their best interest. So now, one of my biggest devotions that I constantly find myself being pulled by is that I want to help more people. And there's been moments in my life, and I want you to just ask yourself these questions so that you can see how you can also find your own devotion in your life and steal mine if it serves you. But for me, every time that I feel like I'm doing good, right? Like, okay, I have a nice house. Okay, I have a nice car. Okay, I have a nice bank account. Okay, I have nice things and business keeps growing in my real estate. So, okay, I'm good. There's a moment where sometimes I'm like, I don't need more. Like, I genuinely don't need more. But then something very magical happens. And I like to call this God speaking through us that sometimes we don't listen to. But when we're quiet and still enough and we listen to it, it tells me, Alexa, you're not just acquiring more shit for yourself. You're acquiring more things so that you can give more. On the 20th of December for 2025, I went out and we were blessed to be able to help over 100 kids get a warm meal, get a nice hoodie that was brand new, and a candy bag. And you should have seen the look in these little boys' and girls' faces. It was such a beautiful moment because it reminded me that there is kids out there that are hoping for more people like you and I to care about them, to look after them, to teach them differently. And a lot of people I know sometimes are like, well, that's their life and that's not our life. And why should we help them? Well, remember this. The more you give, the more you're going to receive. The more you help from the heart, the more that God blesses you. And I've seen that in my own life. So the reason why I believe it's so important for you to actually understand your why and actually understand that when your why becomes bigger than your comfort, that is where devotion is really born. Devotion is something that you just know you have to keep creating more of whatever you're creating because you know that it's going to serve a purpose. Like this podcast. I genuinely know that when I show up and I am giving it my best, sharing the things that are helping me go through the things that I'm going through, I know that it's my way of paying it forward. I know that it's my way of trying to share with you guys, hey, look, these are the things that I'm struggling with. These are the things that I've struggled with in the past. These are the things that I've overcame. And if you're willing to listen, I'm willing to share some things that I wish somebody would have shared with me and things that I've actually had to pay a lot of money for as well. So when you're thinking about your devotion, ask yourself, how can you really find something that is not just about the ego, that it's not just about proving your worth, but it's actually about contribution and a higher purpose. And it doesn't have to be my mission. It doesn't have to be helping more people. Maybe for you, it's helping more animals. Maybe for you, it's helping, kids with disabilities. Maybe for you, it's whatever it is. But that devotion is the thing that's going to help you whenever you feel like giving up. Because I know that it's not just about me. I know that it is a bigger purpose than me. And even honestly, than sometimes I can comprehend. So I really want you to understand that. Now, the second part to this is that devotion really requires inner stillness and truth. You cannot be devoted to your purpose if you're disconnected from yourself. And this is where we need to really understand that many people are really not living in their purpose because they're living other people's expectations. Whether it's your parents, your culture, social media, survival conditioning, right? Maybe your parents because your parents expected something from you, or maybe your culture because your culture says that you should do things a certain way. So now you're stuck in that mindset because then you feel like you're going against the grain and you're going to be the odd man out. Maybe it's social media because you keep comparing yourself to what Betty and Bob have and you feel like you're clueless of what you're doing or you feel worthless. And now you are in this survival conditioning, right? Where you feel like you need to continue to go through the next thing, acquire the next thing, buy the next thing. And something that I really want you to focus on is like, what are your values? You see, I didn't really understand what values were. And something that I really learned from Date with Destiny is that values are the things that really shape you. I call it your identity, but values are actually what form your identity. So let's say you really value, I don't know, you want success, right? This is the easiest one because last I checked, I have never talked to somebody that says, yeah, I just want to be a failure in life. I've never talked to somebody like that. And if you're talking to people like that, run the other fucking way. But most of the time, people are always wanting something better out of life. They just don't know how to get there. So if let's say you have this belief that you want more success in your life, right? You want the next best thing. You want to help more people. You want to impact more people. You want to do more things for more people. But then let's say on the opposite side, one of your core things that you're afraid of, right? One of the things that you're going away from is being rejected. Well, here's the thing. There's a price of admission whenever you're going to be somebody that's going to be successful. There's always going to be people that are going to talk shit about you. There's always going to be people that are going to judge you and your motives. There's always going to be people that are going to question you. And the reason why these people are doing these things is because they're not secure in themselves. Always remember that. Somebody that is secure in themselves, somebody that genuinely loves themselves, somebody that genuinely knows that they're going to places, they want other people to also love themselves. They want other people to genuinely go and build something amazing for themselves. And I've noticed this because the moments in my life where I was the most negative person ever, it was because I didn't believe in myself. It was because I was jealous of what other people had because I thought that them having that thing meant I had less of the thing. So when you can understand that your values are directly tied into the life that you're living, you can start changing your values. So let's say you want to be in that perfect relationship where your partner is unconditionally loving. And let's say you've been in a situation with this person where you guys maybe weren't the most loving to each other. You guys maybe fucked each other over in the past, did some things, said some things, and you're trying and trying and trying to make this thing work. Well, the truth is that you have two options. You can either put that behind you and genuinely start from scratch, and it takes two people to really make this happen, right? And say, you know what? I love you enough to look past all the things that we've done and said to each other. I just want our new values and our new morals and boundaries to be created together, and we're going to work toward this every single day. Or you can choose to respect yourself enough to say, I'm sorry, but I've tried. And I love you and I wish the best for you, but I need to respect my boundaries because this identity isn't serving me. And this is the thing that really, really is going to change your life, because success without self-awareness is really creating emptiness. And I really need you to understand that. When there's like those people that are very successful, but they're not really self-aware of like what they're doing, right? The impact that they could be having on other people's lives, but they're just worried about themselves, or the fact that they just did the thing because somebody in their family wanted them to do the thing, but they're not really happy. That creates an emptiness. And self-awareness, once you're self-aware of what you really want and you have devotion, this is what gives your life meaning. So I really need you to journal, unplug of the world, just get real with yourself and ask deeper questions. What do I truly want out of life? Not what am I supposed to want out of life? Like, what do you genuinely want? And I really need you to understand, like, where am I quiet and where am I quitting on myself? Where are you giving up on yourself too quickly? Where are you not moving the needle forward? And what would devotion look like in my life this year? How can you show up for yourself differently? How can you ensure that you are genuinely embodying these things? And the last thing that I really want to leave you with is to remember the law of vibration, okay, is becoming an energetic match to the thing that you want to attract. You don't manifest what you ask for, okay? You manifest what you are. And even when things come, if your nervous system isn't stable to receive it, it's going to happen. You're going to sabotage it. You're going to push it away. You're going to shrink to the expectations, or you're going to overgive, or you're going to abandon yourself. Like, think about it. Think about those people that have made millions of dollars off winning the lottery, and because they never really learned how to hold money, and because they really don't love themselves, they sabotage it by giving it all away and spending it on people pleasing and making people love them when they really don't love them and they just really want their money. They forget about themselves. They forget about learning how to really hold this money, because your vibration needs to be really rooted in this devotion. So I really need you to understand, it's not just about calling the thing in, it's about becoming the person that can actually hold this thing. This is where I always tell people, you need to understand that devotion, okay, needs to be tied into embodiment. And what is embodiment, right? Because I hear this word thrown off a lot, and a lot of people, myself included, at one point I didn't understand this type of lingo. Like, now I use this lingo because it's the type of information that I'm always around. But maybe for you, you're like, what the fuck is she meaning when she says embodiment? Just think about it from this perspective, okay? If I tell you, hey, you guys should go work out every day. You should go work out. You should watch what you're eating and make sure that you are being disciplined with yourself. If I tell you those things, but yet behind closed doors, I'm not going to the gym, behind closed doors, I'm getting drunk, behind closed doors, I'm going clubbing, that means that I'm not embodying the things that I'm saying. I'm not actually I'm not walking the walk, right? And this is where a lot of people, and this is where you need to be very lethal with yourself. They say one thing on social media or they say one thing to other people, but behind closed doors, they're a very different person. And I don't know about you, but the times where I'm not doing the things that I should be doing, it's very easy for me to lose respect for myself. Like holidays came around and I was still going to the gym, but not as much as I should have been going, if I'm being honest with you. So came Christmas, I went to the gym. Came the day after that, I went to the gym. And today, it's New Year's Eve and I went to the gym. And I've been making sure that I'm going to the gym because I was like, Alexa, we're not doing this. No, no, no. Just because in the past you've had this mindset of, oh, it's the holidays, we really don't need to do it. That doesn't mean that's who you are anymore, Alexa. And I had to really have a conversation with myself. And I really had to have compassion for myself, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of, Alexa, we are better than this. So this is really where you need to understand embodiment. Now, also, you need to understand your nervous system. Okay, because if your nervous system is always performing from scarcity, from lack, from jealousy, animosity, you're never going to be able to manifest more. And the easiest way for you to really start recalibrating your nervous system in the most holistic and most cost efficient way is for you to start practicing gratitude. Gratitude for the things that you have, gratitude for the things that you've already been able to create. So if you've been feeling frustrated that things are not manifesting or that they're not coming, or when they come, they fall apart, honestly, my friend, there's nothing wrong with you. You are just being invited to learn more about devotion, into alignment, into truth. It's not about becoming this completely new person. It's about getting rid of all the bullshit. Deepak Chopra says this, Chopra, can never pronounce his last name, but he talks about this, how when you are becoming a better version of yourself, it's not just about essentially becoming a new person and forgetting who you were. It's about removing all the bullshit labels that you've picked up along the way, right? The fact that you need to do this and the fact that you shouldn't do that, the expectations of society. And what do you genuinely want out of life that's going to bring you happiness without harming other people, of course, because then you get into karma and that's a whole other cycle. But let's say that you genuinely just want to be, I don't know, a freaking florist in Florida and sell freaking, flowers. Well, who knows? Maybe you going and pursuing that and showing people about it on social media, you end up creating this like massive following of people that are actually so invested in you that now you attract people from all over parts of the world that are going to buy your fucking flowers. And I know it sounds so simple sometimes, but sometimes the most beautiful and magical things in life are the most simple. We just make them so complicated. So I want you to ask yourself today, how can you devote to your purpose? How can you choose your truth over your ego? How can you choose alignment over forcing? And I need you to understand that what is for you will always find you. This is why I don't believe that there's just one soulmate. I don't believe that there's just that one opportunity. I don't believe that there's just that one time that it could have been. I believe that if you continue to work on yourself, you can always attract better because you are actually becoming an energetic alignment to that thing. So this is something that I really want you to understand. And if you're interested in going deeper into feminine embodiment, I am telling you, you should definitely look into one of the courses that I have. And it's not just about, oh, because it's me. You should look and do your own research and buy from whoever you feel comfortable with. But this is literally the work that I put into my Feminine Essence Glow Print. I made it a point to talk about all the things that have really helped me shape my mind, shape my body, shape my, psychology, my spirituality into who it is. And I continue to do the work. And I'm telling you, when you can just live a life from the place of how can I continue to be better, this is really where you're going to see the beauty in your life because you're embodying it. You're embodying that best version of yourself. You're embodying just overall being a better version of you. So with that, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for showing love. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with somebody that you love. Because remember, this is the way that we actually grow. When we take the time to share with people things that actually impact us, not only is it actually showing that we love ourselves, but it's showing that we love them. You know how sometimes we share that one episode with somebody because we really want to share the thing that we know is going to really impact them for the rest of their life, and we send them that little clip? It's the same when it comes to podcast. So if you listen to something that really stood out to you, share it with a friend, share it with somebody that you know can benefit from this. And with that, if nobody's told you today, I love you, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. And with that being said, I want to remind you, visualize, embody, and transcend. Be the walking manifestator you are born to be.